BlakGooseTV family, salute to y'all. Happy Monday. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying your Monday a whole lot better than I may myself be. But let's get into this boxing news. Let's talk that talk. Let's walk that walk. So, I had dropped a video earlier in the day. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's only about 2 minutes long. And I am basically letting you guys know that the David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant fight talks fell through. They were in negotiation to get a fight scheduled for this September. And please, guys, hear me when I say this September, not May. Remember, I reported David Lemieux versus David Benavidez is happening May 21st. So don't mistake me trying to say that this particular report right here has to do with him fighting Caleb Plant instead of David Lemieux. No, that was never my report. That's never anything I've said. If you guys go and watch every video that I've made in regards to this, I've acknowledged that David Lemieux is first for David Benavidez. But with that being said, obviously, it has been reported previous to this particular report that David Benavidez, his team, had sent over an offer to Caleb Plant's team to get a fight scheduled, or at least start negotiations for a fight between the two to happen in September. So basically, that would give enough time for David Benavidez, if he beats David Lemieux, to have a little rest and to get back into training camp and be ready by September for Plant. Now, as a boxing fan, as a boxing head, a boxing purist, I was excited, man. Absolutely excited, man. David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant is one of those fights that, if you want me to be honest to God, like, I won't say that I'm necessarily itching and scratching to have that fight. But it's a very interesting fight. One, because of Caleb Plant's fighting style. We saw how he did against Canelo. The styles make matchups. And I think stylistically, David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant would actually be a beauty to see. And I would be interested to see how David Benavidez deals with a slick boxer like Caleb Plant. Because we haven't necessarily seen David Benavidez in there with a slick boxer. Now, a lot of people may assume that Benavidez will have the same type of success that Canelo may have against someone like Caleb Plant because of his style, but we don't know that because we haven't seen Benavidez tested by a style similar to Caleb Plant, or at least at a level stylistically that's close to Caleb Plant's. Obviously, you can say Canelo had, before he had fought Caleb. Billy Joe Saunders was probably the closest thing to Caleb Plant when it came to stylistically, when it came to level-wise. Whatever you guys want to say about Billy Joe, you guys could say, just because he's an overseas fighter, he's not on the same skill level as Caleb Plant. I tend to disagree. I think they're pretty much on the same skill level. The only deciding factor is Billy Joe isn't necessarily a natural super middleweight, but anyways, that would have been a very interesting fight in the aspect of stylistically seeing, Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez. Okay, who I lean toward winning that fight doesn't really matter. Okay, who I think is the better fighter, that really matters. The point of this video is we're going to be touching on this particular topic that's headlining this article. As always, y'all know how we do up in this thing. We're not just going to go off the headline. We got to read a little bit of the details so we get a better understanding of what's going on. But as you can see here, it's touching on the reason why Plant's team ended up declining on Benavidez. Let me also make this clear for my BlakGooseTV family. I don't believe in the word duck, okay? Hopefully you guys get this far into the video, because some of y'all just be reading the headlines and then y'all just run with it. But, it's part of YouTube. But I don't believe in the word duck. If you guys have, been with me for a long time, I've been doing this channel, maybe not to the consistency and to the level of what I'm doing it now, but I've been doing it for at least 3.5 years. And I've always stood by the stance of the word duck is very, very, very disrespectful when it comes to these world-class fighters. At the end of the day, none of these fighters are avoiding each other based on, oh, I'm scared of them, I don't want to fight them because I may lose. You get to this point in your life, man, you dedicated yourself to a sport or to a craft that literally requires your blood, sweat, and tears. Like, literally requires your blood, sweat, and tears, your entire body. You know what I'm saying? You don't get this high of a level. You don't get where they are now, and all of a sudden they are thinking to themselves, oh, if I fight this guy, I might lose. That's the last thing on their mind. They are prepared to go to war, and they believe they'll beat anyone. And that's just a fact. So it's disrespectful to use the word duck. I don't ever say duck. Declining a fight and ducking someone is two completely different things. By me saying Caleb Plant declined the offer that was sent from David Benavidez, by no means am I disrespecting Caleb Plant or am I saying he's a duck. I'm not saying any of those things, but I am reporting the facts that his team did decline the fight. And you have to understand as well, when it comes to declining fights, a lot of times, majority of the times, that has nothing to do with what the fighter's opinion or what they want to do. You see what I'm saying? So if a fight is declined and it makes a lot of sense to the fans, and the fans come to the conclusion like, oh, he doesn't want to fight him because he don't want to lose. Oh, you really think Caleb Plant got the offer in front of him and said, hey, team, no, I don't want to fight him? Like, no. At this point, at where Caleb Plant is in his career, everything is decided. Is very particular on his decision and his next steps because it's business now. Caleb Plant is now a brand. Okay, before the Canelo fight, he was somewhat of a brand, but now after the Canelo fight, the Canelo fight, he is a brand that he makes. That him and his team, specifically his team, is going to make sure that they make the right choices from here on out. That their brand gets as much money as they can until he retires. And a lot of time those business moves does require declining a fight that a lot of the fans would want to see because maybe it's just not the right time. Also understand, because I'm like, we're already 6 minutes into this. So even with me explaining this, those who assumed wrongly in my last video, they're not even going to get this far to understand my explanation on this. But also understand when it comes to declining a fight, it all comes down to what makes sense marketing wise, promotional wise, and money wise. Okay. And obviously the fans would love to see Caleb Plant versus Benavidez, right? That's big money, right? But that's because you guys are living in the now. If you're a business, right? And okay, let's break it down real quick. We're gonna step away from the boxing real quick. Let's say we have a business and it's focused on sales. You have two top salespeople, right? They're making a majority of the profit in your business, but your sales team consists of 10 people, but two of them are the ones who's profiting majority of the income coming in because of how good they are. Let's say 80%, right? You get to a point like one person of that 80%, they're bringing in about 60%. And then the other person is bringing in about 20%, or let's make it a little bit closer. Let's say it's a 50 30, 50% one person, 30%. So one person is contributing to the sales team and the profit a little bit more than the other, but they're both basically your top money makers. Okay, you have two options, right? You're making all this money, and then all of a sudden you're presented with this huge sale, right? You're presented with this huge sale where it's like, okay, I want to make sure this gets closed. And the only way I can do that is I have to have my top salesman on it to close it. I can't trust anybody else with this. But you have a choice, right? Now you're brought with a choice where, hey, you can bring this, this big deal to your top salesman, the one who's doing 50% of the 80% they're bringing into the whole team, rather than give it to the 30% because he's a little bit below your top salesman. But he's the guy too. I'm gonna bring this to him, right? The 50% guy. Hopefully you guys are able to follow me and able to understand what I'm saying. But I bring this big deal to him because I know he can close it. But the backlash I get will be that my other top salesman will feel offended because he's like, oh, wait, you went to him. So that means you trust him more. And then ultimately what happens is your other top salesman, his morale goes down, he starts feeling away, and then he ultimately leaves. Now in the long run, what do you have? Now you only have one top salesman in you're in your business that was making the moves, and what ends up happening is you find out the importance of that other salesman because at the time 80% of the profits in your sales team was from those two people. Once he leaves, your top salesman is still doing good, but now he's not making up 80% of that profit, right? Now you lose the 30%. And so now we only have 50% of the profit coming from that one person, and the 50% coming from the other salespeople it's nowhere near having that top sales. So now you're losing money. So you were thinking short term, let me bring this big deal to my top guy because I know it can close it. I make all this money in this year, but now I'm suffering in the upcoming years because I can't find someone else because I offended my other salesman. Now you want to think about it in the long run. Okay, rather than bringing this one big deal to my top salesman, I'm gonna bring it to both of them. And I'm gonna say, hey guys, I know you can make a whole lot more money if I would have brought this single-handedly to one of you guys, but I'm gonna bring it to you both. I want you guys to split this profit because I want you to know that you two together is much better than me just having one. And now what? Now the dynamic of the business changed. All right, yeah, no, I didn't make as much profit on that one deal because I had to split it between the company and then my two salesmen rather than the company and that one salesman. But what ends up happening in the long run, both of these guys' morale is boosted. They stay with me another 2 to 3 years, and my business is flowing. So now I'm thinking about that back end. So this is what I'm trying to, and I know that was kind of long, and I know you guys may not be able to follow me because I went away from boxing, but that's the same idea, concept, and mind that you have to look at this. A sales business, a Burger King, a McDonald's, real estate, fucking selling cars. It's all the same dynamic as boxing, but people don't want to have that mindset because it has to do with fans, right? We're fanatical. There's people that we are invested into, and we're so invested in the sport, and we're so invested in what's going on, and it's a man's sport, and it's all about one-on-one. We get so caught up in the fact that if he's not fighting him, he's scared. Like, nigga, there's money in all this, right? It's not that simple. He can't just say, let's go fight on the backyard. No, there's money behind it. So this is the same thing when it comes to Caleb Plant and David Benavidez. Just because Caleb Plant's team declined the fight, declined the offer, that doesn't mean Caleb Plant himself said, oh, I don't want to fight him because I'm scared. No, a lot of times it doesn't make any sense business-wise. And the reason why it doesn't make any sense business-wise, I've said a million times when it comes to Caleb Plant and David Benavidez, their top dogs in PBC at 168 is Plant, Benavidez, and Charlo. If you have Plant and Benavidez fight, you're eliminating one of your top dogs. Why is this a problem? People are going to say, I don't see the problem. Then you can get closer to the Canelo fight. A Canelo fight is short-sighted for a promotional company, for a business like PBC. Yeah, we can get the Canelo fight. But then what if Canelo comes? So what if David Benavidez beats Caleb Plant, right? All right, we just lowered the stock on one of our top salesmen. We just lowered the stock on one of our top guys that we can make money from in the future for 3 to 4 years down the line. We just killed that stock. Okay, but we're doing it in hopes of getting the Canelo fight. All right, now we're in the Canelo sweepstakes. Let's say David Benavidez and Canelo just happens to happen, right? That fight happens. Let's say David Benavidez loses to Canelo. How does that look now? Now your middleweight division went from having 3 top salesmen in Plant, Benavidez, and Charlo to now only having Jamal Charlo. What do you think that will do to the money in the long run? Now they're going to have to pick up their boots and they're going to have to do everything they goddamn can to find another superstar at super middleweight. This is all I'm saying. Okay, this is me breaking it down simple. But I know y'all don't be watching these videos all the way into this joint. Y'all be going like 6 minutes in, be like, I be knowing what Fluence is talking about. That's cool. I'm okay with that. But please don't change the narrative because my narrative has always been the same. Never have I believed in the word duck, okay? Because this is business. It's about money. You can't duck somebody if the money don't make sense. You can just ask for more, God damn it. But anyways, let's read this article. This video's already been long enough. Caleb Plant to fight Anthony Dirrell next, not Benavidez. This is also, remember guys, this is also why, you know, when I do read some of these articles, I'll skip around because they are very opinionated at times. I just try to get, you know, the parts of the article that is based off of like interviews and things like that, more so than their actual opinion. But let's get into this. I won't go too long. We're going to hit it, quit it, and then roll out like you're talking to a toxic bitch. You know what I'm saying? Caleb Plant will be fighting the grizzled ex-168 champion Anthony Dirrell next, instead of the unbeaten rising star David Benavidez for his next fight. Jake Donovan is reporting that Plant will likely be fighting Dirrell next. The fact that Plant hasn't denied the fights with Dirrell is happening next suggests that this will be his next opponent. The plan is for Plant to fight Dirrell, and if he wins, he'll face Benavidez in September. So as you guys can see right here, Benavidez versus Plant necessarily isn't off for September, right? There's still a possibility of Benavidez versus Plant happening. There's like, you know, articles, headlines. You all have to make headlines. You all have to make articles, all these type of different things, okay? That's fine. But there is a good chance that the same way David Benavidez is gearing up for a David Lemieux fight in May 21st, we might see Plant, you know, announce the Dirrell fight, and that fight happens somewhere around the same time. So both of them are ready for September to fight each other. There's no word yet whether Plant versus Dirrell will be televised on Showtime pay-per-view. Some boxing fans are already predicting that this fight will be sold on pay-per-view, right? It's going to be sold on pay-per-view. Plant just got done. His last fight was against Canelo. Ain't no way they're gonna miss out on that fucking change. I don't care if the pay-per-view bombs. They're not going to not put this on pay-per-view. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. So let's go to this part right here. Last Sunday night, Jose Benavidez Sr. revealed that former IBF middleweight champion Plant had declined to fight with Benavidez. As such, Benavidez will focus on his May 21st title eliminator against David Lemieux and then go from there. All right, so here's here is a big part right here. And then what I'm gonna do too, I'll probably do a separate video just for this little part, post it, for the people, and then kind of leave it alone. But I am gonna, in case you guys are watching this, you guys do watch this back, I'll have this for this video. So Caleb Plant responded to Jake Donovan. So Caleb Plant said to Jake Donovan, he said, to clarify, the fight never evolved beyond casual discussion. Separate pass away both fighters. Benavidez scheduled to face David Lemieux on 5/21. Next up for Plant is likely Anthony Dirrell. Intention is to have winners meet later this year. Story on BoxingScene.com. Caleb Plant responded saying he had a fight sign before me, and then I got a fight sign. Then he says some cap, and y'all believe it. When are y'all going to learn that I don't have to hide or lie about anything I haven't proved? And I think he missed to say, haven't I proved my character yet? He's probably a little mad. He's probably, tweeting a little fast. So Dirrell's coming off a 4th-round knockout win over Marcos Hernandez last November. It was interesting to watch how much celebrating Dirrell did after the victory over the second-tier fighter. There goes opinion. Obviously, remember with this picture right here, Dirrell versus Benavidez. So the way it's looking is that there is a possibility. There's a possibility that this, the Benavidez and Caleb Plant, like rumors, as of earlier in the week about happening in September, it may all be very well justified. Obviously, you always know, especially when it comes to bigger name fighters, that promotion starts usually the fight before. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were looking at, if Benavidez beats Lemieux and then Plant ends up beating Dirrell, to see them meet up, Cinco de Mayo. That would be interesting. But I want to just read this little part right here because this kind of lines up with the, the fantasy theory that I've been hoping for, just because I'm an Andrade fan and I want to see him fight somebody. David is willing to make the best fight happen for the fans, but unfortunately the fighters who fans want to see do not want to fight. That was from Jose Benavidez Sr. on Instagram. And this is a little opinionated base right here from the writer of the article, but I like it. God damn it, so I'm going to read it. If you're Benavidez, you would be better off focused on lining up a fight with Demetrius Andrade for later this year, rather than investing any more time in trying to set up a match against Plant or early next year. With Andrade, it's a double fight that could be made, and Benavidez won't end up empty-handed. Remember, Benavidez and Andrade, even if they win both of their current interim fights that they have coming up, they still have to fight one more time to be mandatory for Canelo, so that's an option. But I won't go too far any longer. I already ran it a little bit too much, but what do you guys feel about this? Let me know you guys' opinion on the whole entire situation. From Caleb Plant's side, David Benavidez has been lying. You liar. You liar. From David Benavidez' side, we did send him a contract for September, but he declined it. What do you guys think? What is your guys' opinion on it? I think there's a truth from both. I do think there was a contract sent within the PBC manosphere, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that they sent a contract to Caleb probably for around September. I don't think Caleb declined the fight, honestly. I just think he's probably not focused on it right now. He's probably not even I think he's focused on probably getting to Anthony, because I'm like, his fight with Anthony Dirrell has not been signed yet. So while David Benavidez's fight with Lemieux has been signed. So I think him and his team is focused on getting the Anthony Dirrell fight set up, signed, ready to go. And then, they'll start paying attention to that offer from David Benavidez if it does end up coming. But who guys' side are you on? Who do you believe more? Caleb Plant, my guy over here, or David Benavidez? Who do you think is telling the truth? Who do you think is telling a lie? Or do you think all of this is, like I said, when it comes down to the more bigger fighters in the promotion, you start promoting the fight the previous fight before. That's just part of the game, that's marketing. So let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna get up out of here. Black Goose TV. I'm out. Much love.